So if you've been around on my channel for a while, then you'll know that I'm a big advocate for the Mace Windu lives theory. Just to clear things up in case you're confused, I don't think he died in episode 3, and I'm pretty convinced that at some point, Lucasfilm are going to bring him back. Now you might be wondering, when? I have no idea, but hopefully in either the Obi-Wan Kenobi series or the Book of Boba Fett. Now a few months ago I made a video explaining why I think the Book of Boba Fett is the best place for Mace Windu to return, and in that video I cited why there's no better show to reintroduce the galaxy's most badass purple lightsaber wielding Jedi. In this video I kind of want to double down on some of the points I made and also provide every single reason why I think Mace Windu not only should come back, but why I think he will come back. Now I know there's going to be people out there who are naysayers, but hopefully some of my arguments resonate with you, and maybe, if you're lucky, I might be able to convince you. So let's start with the most obvious one. There's no way Mace Windu died in Revenge of the Sith. Samuel L. Jackson said it, George Lucas said it, and now I'm saying it. Let's break this down and take a look at what happened to Mace. He had his forearm chopped off, he got electrocuted, and fell from Palpatine's Coruscant apartment. Apart from the obvious fact that Jedi can fall from tremendous heights and still survive, we've seen many characters lose their hands and get electrocuted and completely be intact. Heck, Luke Skywalker suffered all three and made it out completely okay. If George Lucas intended Mace Windu to die in episode 3, he would have made his death so much less flimsy. Coruscant has many levels, and while there's no doubt Mace Windu would have suffered some injuries, he would have used the Force to lessen the blow. I refuse to believe that such a wise and powerful Jedi Master would fall to his death. No, my friends, that did not happen. And you might say to me, but Meg, all the guidebooks and visual dictionaries say that Mace Windu died. F*** the visual dictionaries and f*** the guidebooks. They don't know what they're talking about. Unless George Lucas said it, I don't believe them. Now to move on to point number 2. Mace Windu is a very important plot device going forward in the Star Wars universe. With all of the shows that Lucasfilm have announced, Mace Windu's potential survival really ups the stakes to a tremendous degree and makes the storytelling that much more interesting, especially for the Book of Boba Fett. Think about it, Robert Rodriguez called the upcoming show All Killer No Filler, and it's likely going to be a series about Boba Fett's hit list for all of the people who've wronged him. I very highly doubt that Boba Fett forgot about what Mace Windu did to his father on Geonosis, no matter how many years have passed since Attack of the Clones. We learned just how important his father's legacy is to him in The Mandalorian Season 2, so Mace Windu would likely be a priority target. Imagine the impact it would have if we get an 8-episode series where Boba Fett gets revenge on all of his nemesis and ends with a Luke Skywalker type finale where Boba Fett finds where Mace has been hiding and confronts him. If you can think of a more insane idea for a Book of Boba Fett finale, then please do share it down below, because Lucasfilm should hire you. Point number 3. It benefits Lucasfilm from a business and fan standpoint. Say what you will about the prequel trilogy, but the kids who grew up watching it and loving those movies are all grown up now, and you just so happen to be listening to one jibber jabber right at you. We loved Mace Windu in the prequels, and as adults, he remains in our minds as one of the best and most awesome Jedi of the entire franchise. It's been a good 16 years since Revenge of the Sith, but nostalgia for the prequels is at an all-time high. Lucasfilm are very aware of this, which is why they keep bringing out reprised versions of prequel action figures, and the main reason they're giving us an Obi-Wan Kenobi series and The Bad Batch. Not to mention that The Bad Batch is also getting a season 2. If they brought Mace Windu back, it would not undo the damage from the sequels, but it would certainly help to win back some of the respect from the fans. Point number 4. Samuel L. Jackson really wants to reprise the role. Samuel L. Jackson has consistently been quoting Mace Windu on social media, and while Mace Windu is one of his most iconic roles in cinema, he said in multiple interviews that he's just waiting for that call from Disney. He knows it, George Lucas knows it, and we know it. Mace did survive, so they need to complete his story. Mace Windu returning would change our perspective of the Skywalker saga and make the Mandalorian timeline very interesting. Now this point is contingent on which specific show Mace Windu reappears in. If he appears in the Book of Boba Fett and is still alive post Return of the Jedi, then this makes the stories of Grogu, Ahsoka, and Luke very interesting. If Mace is still out there at this point, Is he aware of other Jedi? Has he cut himself off from the Force? And just generally, is he still a Jedi? All of these questions are amplified by whether or not he interacts with the main protagonists of the so-called Mandoverse. One thing that would be very interesting is if Mace Windu meets Grogu again. I say the word again because Grogu would have been a youngling at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Even more important is that he would likely know exactly who he is, given that he was very close to Yoda, who may or may not be the child's father. My next point is that Dave Filoni is the man to make it happen, and I'm aware that there are going to be people crying in the comments saying, Meg, you always give credit to Dave Filoni, but you do realise he's not in charge of everything, don't you? Yes, obviously I'm aware of that, but he has a pretty senior role in the creative department at Lucasfilm. He's one of the executive creative directors at Lucasfilm, and while there'll be some people who want to deny it, most projects do have to go through him. Nobody knows Star Wars better than George Lucas, but the second best man is Dave Filoni, who studied directly under him and worked more closely with George at Lucasfilm than anyone else. If anyone is to respect the wishes of Mr. Lucas, it's Dave Filoni, and if anyone could bring Mace back in a coherent way, it's him. Dave Filoni has had his Mandalorian universe planned out from day one. He said multiple times that The Mandalorian is a story that he already knows the end of, it's just broken up into multiple seasons. For all we know, Mace Windu has a place in it. If not, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the best option. But again, Obi-Wan Kenobi is not part of the Mandoverse, but is a show by Deborah Chow. There is just too much evidence that Mace Windu is on the way back to Star Wars, and if he isn't, it's the biggest wasted opportunity in the saga. And this brings me on to my final point. We've seen so many other characters die and be brought back to life, and no one seems to bat an eyelid. We've seen Darth Maul cut in half and yet he survived, Boba Fett seemingly died in episode 6 but escaped, and we've even seen Palpatine die twice, and he might even still be out there post the rise of Skywalker. Okay, Palpatine doesn't count because of cloning and all of that crap. But the point is, if Lucasfilm want a character to come back from the dead, they make it happen over and over again. Mace Windu should not be an exception. Besides, he arguably didn't even die, so it's not even bringing him back from the dead. It's just showing that he's still alive and giving us the rest of his story. Now I know there's going to be people out there who think that this is all just wishful thinking, but it's not. Especially for Star Wars, these points aren't even far-fetched. The naysayers are the ones who are wishfully hoping that he did die, but as I say, he didn't. Now, another interesting option for Mace Windu, if he is still out there, is the possibility that he turned to the dark side. Apart from the real-world reason that Mace Windu has a purple lightsaber, there is of course an in-universe reason, and that is that he had some dark side qualities to him. While he was a Jedi, he struggled a lot with the dark side urges and associated characteristics. But what if what Anakin did in episode 3 was enough to make him fully turn to the dark side? That would be a storyline very much worth exploring, although I don't know how that would tie into the current storyline, and I don't think that's the route Lucasfilm would go. But I suppose the only plot hole is, where did Mace Windu go afterwards, and why haven't we seen him? But that is all I have to say today, guys. What did you make of this video? Do you think Mace Windu is coming back to Star Wars? Why so or why not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're a Mace Windu and prequels fan like I am, show me your love in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and a huge welcome if you are. And also be sure to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description down below. But otherwise, I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.